Alright, man. What's going on, guys? How are you? So I'll make a video. This was another question I got from a user. It's like, what were some of the goals that I've had? You know, some big goals and some of the future goals I have now. You know, I have a lot of future goals. I want to own city blocks. I want to make big one I have now is bringing financial education to the world. You know, I had it where people could, like, if it costs $20, $30 for people to get the same education. I'm not saying through my service, I'm saying like through a book and institutions that provide it, because you'd be surprised how much those institutions like colleges make and all that. But I'm gonna talk about a goal I had at one point that I failed. And it's funny because we were driving in San Diego, we're in LA right now, but it was another goal I had. The first one was related to the LA Clippers. Oh, I should turn this on too. That looks probably better. But the LA Clippers, they had that thing with the whole Donald Sterling and all that. And, you know, and that's something, what he said was very offensive, you know, so that socially getting offended one, that's something, you know, you can tell his intentions are bad, but there's that. But the concept of why I'm going to tell you guys this goal is because I feel like people, they think too small, you know, and that's someone, you know, people say I'm discouraging people to go trade this. Nah, like, I want you guys to just be fully prepared. And that's what I'm telling you guys. I want you guys to have bigger goals and really do not be unrealistic, but go about it realistically, if that makes sense. You know, don't believe what the facts say. So I'm gonna talk about that, and I'll tell you the story, you know, too. I actually made a bid for the Clippers. I organized investors, and we got rejected, obviously, but I would have got to be a part owner of the Clippers. That was fun. It was something cool. You know, I saw the opportunity and I set that as a goal. I worked towards it. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but even then, oh well. And another thing, we were driving in San Diego the other day and we saw Qualcomm Stadium. You know, the Chargers left. That's unfortunate as a San Diego fan, but y'all ain't even win a Super Bowl anyway, you motherfucker. Nah. But the thing was, we were driving by it, and I think Brendan, he said it because he knows how I think with stuff. He was like, yo, let's try to buy it. So that is actually one of my goals now. I'm trying to look into it to see how I could get that Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. You know, that'd be awesome. I'm not trying to buy a sports team, but having that stadium would be so awesome, you know, see what kind of deal we can make with that. But that's one, but hopefully that gives you a little insight into how crazy I am and the types of goals I set. And it's funny because these are the types of goals I set even when I was young. I was even talking to my girlfriend how, you know, she said how she would have goals that were realistic a lot of times, and like she wanted houses, but she's like, my realistic goal was like to be able to like buy, you know, all the nice things that, you know, becomes attainable for most people once they get credit cards, really, if you think about it. But the thing for me, I told her, I was like, as a kid, I only wanted that. Oh, I just wanted that unrealistic shit, honestly. You know, I was always trying to, you know, by the time I was 13, I was setting goals for the cars I wanted. You know, I remember first time I drove to LA, first time I got introduced to LA, like I had a goal. I was like, man, I want a $20 million house on the fucking thing. And that's another one of my goals. I have a goal. I want to make sure at one point, I usually rent out my expensive houses, live in the cheap ones. And I want a $50 million house. I think that's one of my goals. And it sucks. I'm giving you some of my material goals. Obviously, you know, to have an education system, a school that can help people actually learn about finances and money. That is one of my biggest goals, and that's like kind of my ministry way of giving back is how I look at it. But it's, even with the Qualcomm thing, you know, that stadium, I want you guys to have kind of unrealistic goals. And why? It's because like a lot of people don't believe they could have it, you know, and I've noticed, and this is what kills me, it's the smart people. It's the really, really, really smart people. You know, you got dumb motherfuckers, and you know, I mean that in the nicest way. I probably wasn't nice at all. But, you know, they'll believe it, that they could do a lot of things, and that's why some of them fall for scams, you know, get rich quick. But then you got the smart people who, you know, they're very intellectual, high IQs, all that, and they simply look at the facts. And the facts say, oh, I can't do that, I'm too young, I'm too this, I'm too that. No. You know, you gotta make sure you guys are setting high goals. I don't care how unrealistic it is. The approach should not be unrealistic. But the goal should be in a sense where to you, yeah, it thinks that. Because if you're always believing what the facts tell you, you're not going to get it. You know, you're going to get what you want, actually. You get everything you want. So if you believe you're not this, you're not that, well, guess what? Yeah, you keep believing and thinking about it, you'll get it. You know, that's why I tell people, if they're like, oh, I'm too young, I'm too this, I'm like, yeah, with that attitude, you're right. But with the other attitude saying, yeah, I'm going to do this, people will look at you crazy. But it's a fine line between having crazy, unrealistic goals, but at the same time, going about it properly. You know, that's a part of learning. That's finessing it to that certain degree. So that's the point I want to give you guys. You know, I got to share a little bit. Those are some of my goals you see. Obviously not all of it. I have a bunch. You know, I can't even, that's it. And that's the thing. I have so many crazy goals, but I want to make sure you guys are not really thinking like that, and don't let the facts determine it. You know, it sucks because I don't want to bring this up. Like, I believe in God, and, you know, the way I believe my God, you know, he promised to bless you. He promises to, you know, he wants you to be happy and all that. I don't think anything is outside of his power. You know, if I'm saying I want a stadium, I don't think, I know the power of what I believe in. And guess what? You don't believe in God. I believe in yourself. You'll get the same result. You guys got to realize how powerful the world is, and when you just apply yourself. So that's where I'm trying to get to you guys and saying, hey, think outside there. Don't think yeah, sure, you have a circumstances. You don't have money. You got college debt. You were born into a family. You never get that education. You had a bunch of bad stuff happen to you. You have a criminal record. You know, go look at that Instagram picture I posted. That it doesn't. A lot of those things are traits to even be entrepreneurs, but don't let that stop you. Don't let the fact of the matter stop you from taking those steps and setting those goals. You know, that is what's going to get you hope. That's what's going to wake you up in the morning. And, you know, start with small, manageable, realistic goals, but, you know, keep that one goal that's crazy. I honestly think you all need to have that, because if you don't, you're limiting yourself. You're limiting the power of what you actually can do, and it's going to change your behavior in many ways of how you act and what you act towards. So think about that for a second. Honestly, it's kind of crazy, because I see a lot of people, even like, you know, say some people even in churches, Christian people, they'll pray for stuff. They're like, God, give me this, but they don't really believe it, and they ask God for the small stuff that's related to what their circumstances are. They're not saying, okay, if I believe in God, I'm praying to a God, he created the world, did everything, all that. I'm not going to go and say, oh yeah, well, God's cool and all, he could do all this stuff, but he can't get me out of my situation. He can't stop how I was raised, my education. Well, it's contradicting, you know, and that's where you got to have your faith come in. But, and if you don't believe in God, if it applies to the same concept, that you become what you think about. And that's why those go hand in hand. But if you're really thinking about that, they're saying if you stop to think positive because of your current situation, well, then you're still thinking about where you're at. That's not a way to progress in that instance. So I'm encouraging you guys, think crazy, think out there. And, you know, I'm not telling you to be crazy and think irrationally, you know, that's again, it's such a fine line. And that is how you guys are going to grow. That is how you're going to be entrepreneurs. That's how you're going to become good businessmen, is by being able to think how other people won't. Control your thinking, but understand limits and obstacles. You know, obstacles aren't there to stop your path. Those are actually part of your path, if that makes sense. You know, that's the stuff that it was there for a reason. How you get over it, how you maneuver it. If you see an obstacle, a wall, and you back down, that's your path. Some people's their path gets blocked by an obstacle, they turn away. But it's like the other people. It's just, I think Kobe or Jordan said it. You see an obstacle, you climb over it, you jump over it, you run through it. That is part of the path for some people. But, you know, I told you guys that story, I believe, in another video. My friend, he had this big rock on his table, and it looked like a real rock. It looked like a 15-pound rock. And one day, he grabbed it and chucked it at me. I thought I wasn't going to be able to catch it. So I moved out the way, and then you hear it hit the floor, and it just sounds like this. Just like that. it was made of styrofoam. And that's how a lot of obstacles are for some people. And when it comes to setting goals and all that, they see these big walls, but to us it's big, but it's not really that big. If you simply just literally tapped that wall, you would have dropped it. You would have been kept going. But some people just, it's like the illusion of what they think is in front of them. So don't let that stop you. Think crazy. Have these crazy goals, but be smart about it and prepare. You know, don't get in the fallacy of thinking, oh, I could be crazy, I gotta think about this, Josh said this. Nah. But it's understanding, don't be intimidated, and don't think you can't ever get crazy stuff. Again, I told you, when I was young, I was dreaming about a lot of stuff. I was putting my goals on a lot of stuff a lot of kids my age wouldn't have, or even if they were just like, I couldn't get that. You know, that's why even some people in school have decisions that, you know, they go learn for years and years, get out of college, and they hate what they're doing because it doesn't coincide. They want the car, they want the nice things, but they pick this career path because, well, they thought that was the only thing they could do. And then it gives people cognitive dissonance, they don't know what to do, makes life issues, all that. Oh, shit, where I gotta go? Alright, man, I got 5 more miles, so I'm gonna get me lost in all that. But if anything, I'll leave it right there. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Stay in school. Make sure you guys set the button where you subscribe, do the like on the video, and then make sure to do the comment moment. Okay? I love you. Thank you. Stay in school.